This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Robert Fekkes at Nerdster330 on Instagram.
Yep. And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer. We're a movie and TV podcast that covers a specific topic, be it genre, trope, movie, or show each episode. You can find more of our work at ObsessiveViewer.com and more of our podcasts at ObsessiveViewer.com/podcasts. And if you like what you do, if you like what we do, you can go onto Patreon and support us on Patreon at the minimum rate of $1 per month for an exclusive RSS feed with content recorded specifically for Patreon supporters. And at the $5 level, you get commentary tracks and immediate reaction movie reviews videos and stuff, and then $10 gets you early access to content and unreleased content, and that's at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. I'm your aforementioned host, Matt Hurt, and with me today, making his triumphant return to the podcast, is recurring co-host Robert Fekkes.
Hello.
Hi, Fekkes. How's it going?
Good to be back.
Good. It's very good to have you back. It's been a while.
It's been like July or August.
Yeah, and that's nuts. I know for a while you were working nights.
Yeah, I was on late shift the majority of last year, so had to suffer through that.
Yeah. Also, there was a pandemic and everything.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the South Park made some specials about him.
I don't really care for that show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. It's way too liberal and it's the elites and everything. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a bit. But yeah, I don't really have anything else. Oh, I did want to mention at the start of the episode, first of all, we're going to be reviewing The Last Blockbuster, a new documentary that just hit Netflix. It was actually originally released last year, and it was picked up for distribution by Netflix, and it just hit Netflix today. And let's see. Before that, I do want to mention that I have been putting a lot of stuff out on Patreon, so at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Since I got new equipment for the podcast, I have been recording a bunch of commentary tracks and stuff that's going to be released later and everything. So if you want to support us on Patreon, now is a great time to do that, because there is a ton of content there for you to check out. Again, that's at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. And yeah, so Fekkes, how's it going? How do you like the new equipment?
This new equipment is fantastic.
Nice.
It's like you upgraded to professional status.
It seriously is. Like, it really feels like, oh, we're kind of almost pros now. And yeah, I'm very, very, very pleased with it. I was just telling Fekkes before we started recording that ordinarily I would have to do a bunch of editing and post-production on the podcast episodes and stuff. That would take hours and everything, and this is significantly cutting that down, going to cut all of that down, so that's exciting. Fekkes, you have not been on the show since like July.
Yes.
What, just kind of rapid fire, is there anything that you've watched in that time frame that you want to kind of talk about? Like any movies or TV that like has stuck with you since that time?
You know, I have not watched the final episode of it yet, but the Allen versus Farrow on HBO
Max. Every single time I saw it trending on Twitter, my brain read it as Alien in Farrow, and I honestly thought, like, shit, did Mia Farrow have something to do with the Alien franchise?
She might.
Yeah. So how is that, and how does it compare to like other documentaries of that ilk, like Finding Neverland?
So I would
Leaving Neverland.
I would compare it very much so to Leaving Neverland. It's very, very similar in the way they go about documenting the allegations with this and speaking with the people that are involved. I gotta tell you, like, Leaving Neverland made me never want to listen to a Michael Jackson song ever again, and I'll never support Woody Allen ever again.
I don't blame you there from everything that I've heard. I haven't seen the documentary or anything.
The first episode, it's kind of... I wasn't 100% convinced. The second episode, though, I walked away. I was like, no, there's too much here. And Mia Farrow doesn't come off splendidly either. Like, she's kind of out there, which is fine. But she's, I don't want to be mean, but she doesn't seem all that intelligent to begin with.
Okay.
But no, it seems pretty damning to me. And so I'm curious to watch this. The last episode came out. It dropped last night, but have not got a chance to watch it yet. But nice. For the cartoon lovers out there, the Great North.
Oh, yeah. I've been meaning to check that out.
I am a fan.
Okay. It's from the people that made Bob's Burgers,
which you would just assume that I'm going to be a fan of that anyway because Bob's Burgers and primetime cartoon. Mm-hmm. But it's another fun, quirky cartoon, this time set up in Alaska. And it's enjoyable. It's,
it's set in Alaska?
Yeah.
Oh, because the title makes me think Canada.
No, it's
wow. Okay. Wow, that completely changes my perspective on it.
So were you not going to watch it because they were Canadians, or no. Fuck these Canucks?
No, I just thought that I assumed that was kind of like the hook of it is like, oh, it's going to be a bunch of Canadian jokes.
Now, if you want that, you can go watch Letterkenny.
Oh, okay. I've heard good things about that.
Oh, Letterkenny's fantastic.
Okay.
The guys on Late Shift got me watching that, and I've immediately become a fan.
Nice.
But other than that, this week is dropping one of my most anticipated movies for the last 2 years. This is the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yes, and the reviews started dropping today.
And they're stellar.
Pretty good reviews, yeah.
Yeah, I've read this is Snyder's masterpiece. I've read
low bar.
Fuck off. I will forever defend that man. But no, people are the reviews I've read are raving about this, and I've been defending him for years. I guess time will tell. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna watch Batman v Superman tonight. So,
wow. Well, I definitely want to have you on to kind of just dissect the Snyder cut.
4 hours.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, it's set. I wonder if it's going to be individual episodes,
it's cut into it's not individual episodes. It's cut into 7 chapters,
right?
But it's still a free flowing movies, from my understanding of it. So
okay, yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I'm not a big Zack Snyder fan, of course, but them saying that it's his masterpiece and everything makes me wonder. I mean, I assume that's including Watchmen, and Watchmen is pretty incredible.
Yeah, Watchmen's probably gun in my head, maybe one of the best comic book movies of all time for me.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I've been excited for the Snyder Cut, and the Snyder Cut is one of those things that is miraculous the way it came about, and it goes to show again how incredibly powerful the fandom can be. No one had any intention of anyone seeing this cut.
Yeah.
Ever. And then, the Twitter guys got on there and started demanding things. Then, Jason Momoa came out and said that he wants to see the Snyder cut. Henry Cavill, they all came out and was like, this is something that needs to be shown because, they were all proud of it.
And yeah, and I totally get that. And I also kind of on a similar trajectory of that, or another side of that is, I mean, it's not like Zack Snyder didn't. It's not like he left the project for any creative differences or anything. He had a personal tragedy in his family, and that's why he couldn't complete it. So, of course, like the idea of him having an opportunity to actually show his vision of the film is spectacular in the grand scheme of things, in that respect and everything.
I think Warner Brothers is going to come out looking foolish about this. Because, when Zack Snyder had to take personal time off because of his family tragedy, they brought in
Joss Whedon, who's now canceled.
Yeah. Who isn't anymore.
Right.
And I feel like they just gave him carte blanche to chop it up. Hey, make this a 2-hour movie. Do what you got to do. We need to make this marketable. And it butchered the original take on the movie. So
yeah, and I mean,
I watched Justice League. I own Justice League. It's not a good movie, but I'll watch it because one, Ben Affleck in the short time that he had the role, I thought was one of the top Batmen out there that have done the job. Yeah. And I loved his take on it, so I'd watch it. And Gal Gadot is fantastic as Wonder Woman, except for in Wonder Woman 84.
I still haven't even seen that. Yeah.
It's not that she's bad; it's just that the movie is terrible.
That's what I've heard.
She can't save it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Ray Fisher, I wish Ray Fisher, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's great as Cyborg, and I guess that's one of the biggest things about the Snyder Cut is that they just chopped his storyline up to bits,
really?
and that's why he had a big to do against Joss Whedon,
right?
So I'm interested to see his character arc now too. So and Jason Momoa, God,
I mean he's fantastic.
I'll defend. I don't even feel like I have to defend Aquaman. I legitimately really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
So seeing him
Black
in that
Panther underwater.
Well, Black Panther is Lion King.
Right.
So I'd watch the Justice League Joss Whedon cut just because I enjoy the characters enough. But I'm ecstatic to watch the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, all the snark that I have for Zack Snyder is. Most of it's fun. Most of it's because he deserves it. But also, I want to go into a movie or watching a project wanting to like it. So, I mean, I'm excited to check out Justice League, the Snyder Cut. So, yeah, we'll definitely have to hash that out and talk about it in detail on a future episode. There was something else I was going to ask you about, something else that came out that I wanted to get your thoughts on.
Was it a news piece?
No, it was a TV show. Oh, that's what it was. Duh. WandaVision.
Oh God, it was fantastic.
Right?
I was hooked from get-go. I had a couple friends that they watched the first couple episodes and they were hooked, and I just kept on telling them, just stick it out, just stick it out. This is a slow burn. You're going to be in this for the long haul.
Yeah,
and they all came around to it and all loved it, but it had me hooked from the start.
Oh, same here.
First of all, Elizabeth Olsen is fantastic, and
phenomenal.
She's always been great as Wanda Maximoff, and everyone else was terrific. What's the name of the actress that played the neighbor that ended up being Agatha?
Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, Catherine Hahn was fantastic.
She's amazing. Like I've loved her since Step Brothers.
Oh right, yeah.
She's fantastic.
But it was a perfect. People probably were a little worried that it's a Marvel TV show. It won't have the same kind of production value as the movies did, but it really did. The graphics were fantastic with Vision, with the anomaly. I love the stuff when the anomaly is expanding and everything is just changing
into
over.
like a carnival or circus or something.
Bringing back Kat Dennings as Darcy.
Oh, Darcy.
Yeah, so that was fun. I love though that. Kat Dennings starts off as Thor's like, I'm only doing this for credit hours. I don't really give two shits about this. And now, here we are in the future. She's this fucking super scientist.
Astrophysicist or something. I didn't even think of that. That's hilarious.
But yeah, it's fine. I've always thought her character Darcy was charming, and she continues to be charming in WandaVision. So
nice. I love Randall Park in anything.
Oh yeah, he was hilarious.
He's fantastic. Yeah, just absolutely great. This week, I don't know. I wonder if this is because of the kind of pandemic, like if this is why they did this kind of scheduling thing. But I mean, WandaVision just ended, and we're getting Falcon and the Winter Soldier this week.
WandaVision was supposed to drop last November.
Okay, gotcha.
And it got postponed, but
gotcha.
And how about God damn it, who's the actor that plays Vision?
Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany. Troll of trolls, Paul Bettany.
What did
So he came out and said, and the second to last episode dropped, and he makes a statement saying the next episode's got a big surprise. With a new character, with an actor that I've waited my whole career to work with, and everyone's speculating that they're going to bring out the whole speculation throughout this entire season of WandaVision was that Mephisto was going to be the big bad guy behind it,
right?
So everyone's like, "Oh, it's going to be Mephisto, and it's going to be some legiondary actor." No, it's Paul Bettany playing opposite of Paul Bettany.
Right?
Fucking troll. Hilarious, but troll.
That's fantastic. I read headlines about that, and I just didn't really pay too close attention to the speculation or anything. But that's fantastic. I'm so I really love Paul Bettany as an actor and everything. I'm a big fan of his, but it's what's neat about his role as Vision in the MCU is I remember like when Ultron came out, he had said in interviews or something that when he got the role of Jarvis in the first Iron Man, he was like about to quit acting. Like he wasn't getting roles or anything, and then his agent was like, "Hey, I've got this part for a voiceover thing if you want to do that." And then he's like, "Yeah, sure." And then like now he's Vision. Like,
that's hilarious.
It's just awesome. Yeah, so I'm digging that. But yeah, the whole idea of the Marvel Cinematic Universe on Disney Plus and having WandaVision, then Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki, which
Loki's going to be fantastic.
That trailer looks like the second that I saw him as DB Cooper, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be great. So I'm just really excited about that.
It's going to be a good year for Marvel. After 2020, just the first year since 2008 that no Marvel project had been out.
Yeah. So. Oh, yeah. And just going into WandaVision and just seeing that the flipping Marvel sign and everything, or logo and everything, like it just felt, I don't know, it just, after having such an absence of new content with that opening, it just filled me with joy.
Yep.
So, yep. Okay, should we go into our main reviews?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I think first we're going to talk about the South Park specials. They had a South Park vaccines. No. They had the
pandemic
special, and then they had the vaccine special. And I'm going to go ahead and play what I hope is the right sound pad because I'm trying to remember which one was which. I have cheat sheets on my laptop, but my laptop is closed, so I'm stalling a little bit. But first, they had when was the pandemic special? When did that come out?
The pandemic special dropped in October.
That's right.
And I'm as big a South Park fan as you can get, and so I was expecting. So they've been doing 10 episode seasons for the last handful of seasons,
right?
And they're signed on to do seasons through 2022.
Nice.
The pandemic special dropped, and the next week rolls around. There's no South Park episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, maybe the whole thing this season is they're going to do hour-long specials. And so, maybe they need a couple weeks to hash that out. Second week rolls around, no South Park episode. A month goes by, I'm like, what the flying fuck is going on here? Why don't I have my South Park? And then finally in February, they're like, okay, March 10th, the vaccination special. I'm like, you sons of bitches, it's about time.
Right.
It's like, you know how much content you have to work with?
Yes. So let's go ahead and talk about those. But first, I'm going to play this
6
stinger.
feet apart, please.
Come on out and do something about it then.
Why don't you come say that to my face?
Yeah, can I come say it to your face? I'll come say it to your face.
No. Get all the vaccines you can and bring them here to school. You do that, you just might get your teacher back.
Better watch your backs in school tomorrow. Yeah.
We are essential workers.
He's offering us $2,000 for a vaccination.
So, first let's talk about the pandemic special. How'd you feel about it? Did it scratch that itch for South Park content when it was released?
Without a doubt.
Nice.
Because you got to think the last South Park episode that dropped before that was probably in December of 2019.
Jeez.
And so, but that's how it is. They're really quick with their episodes. They usually take they usually go about 12 weeks or 10 episodes, taking a week or two off here and there. So that's not that all that odd, but you come into 2020 and you just think, man, they have all of the content
so much
to work
stuff
with.
to work. Yeah.
And so when they said that the premiere episode of season 24, I think we're on, was going to be an hour-long pandemic special, you're of course you're sold immediately because you just know that they're going to tear apart everything that's happened in the last year.
Oh, absolutely.
And it satisfied that itch without a doubt. It hit all the marks that you're gonna see hit. They hit the pandemic, they hit the riots, they hit the racial stuff. I mean, the police brutality stuff. It was all, and they hit it perfectly. Just as South Park, like nobody's safe from South Park.
And having the police be replacing the teachers was like such a fun meld of those two kind of real world events sort of thing.
The part where they shoot Token had me on the floor. I was dying.
Pretty incredible. Just incredible.
It was hilarious. And I'm a police officer.
Right.
But it's fucking hilarious. Mm-hmm. And then when they're giving the press conference saying Token, they're locking down, he's in COVID, and they're like, we wouldn't have been here being teachers if it weren't for COVID. And he wouldn't have been shot if we weren't teachers. So he's in the hospital due to COVID. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's great.
And
so great.
The season before this, they really focused on Stan and his weed operation. So bringing that back into it, I loved him. I love the whole storyline of him over in China with Mickey Mouse.
Yes,
because some of the strongest episodes from the season prior was dealing with the China issue.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
so because they ripped the NBA and Disney about placating to China.
Okay.
And so bringing it full circle again, through the pandemic, it was perfect.
That's
like
awesome.
Having him over there, fuck the pangolin and the bat, and Mickey Mouse sending him a heart in the mail. It was perfect. Mickey Mouse has been a staple of South Park now for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mickey Mouse was introduced when they did a Jonas Brothers episode.
Okay.
And so Mickey Mouse is this tyrant CEO and forcing the Jonas Brothers to be sexual, but advocate for abstinence.
I remember that.
And so he's been in several episodes since then,
awesome.
too. In fact, one of them was him trying to buy the rights to Star Wars through the 2012 election process.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Mickey Mouse has been around the South Park universe for a bit, and seeing him and Stan being the reason for the
Stan's dad.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Randy.
Randy,
being the reason for the pandemic was fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was the first South Park thing I'd watched in a while. I went back and watched. I think I watched season 20, the serialized season or whatever. And then I started season 21, but then I just didn't follow up on it. But the pandemic special was great, and then I think the vaccination special was a lot of fun too.
I think the vaccination special was the stronger of the two, but the look of the pandemic special just felt like pandemic. Everything was so dreary, and just so low energy, even in this, being South Park, and it just oddly relevant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
totally.
Stan's need to bring normalcy to their lives is like, God damn, if you can't relate to that.
Felt a little real, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And, they pulled, and the Garrison arc, the last 4 seasons, him being the parallel to Trump, has been amazing. Like, he's been perfect throughout this entire, Trump presidency.
Yeah.
And, he didn't disappoint for the pandemic special either.
Nice.
When he comes in, he murders the pangolin and says, "Got a big election coming up, folks."
How'd you feel about his return to South Park in the vaccination special?
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Obviously you have to do something with him. And I thought they handled him coming back to South Park perfectly, because it's
nice.
You haven't seen it yet in the real world, Trump, but there's going to be a time where he enters the public limelight again, and it's going to be people. Americans have the attention span of a hummingbird, so a year and a half from now, people aren't even going to care that he was president for 4 years, and that's kind of what I feel like that they're saying about Garrison. It's like, hey, look what I did. Now we're going to all be friends again, and Garrison walking in trying to act like nothing happened in the last 4 years. That's going to be what Trump's going to do.
Yeah, maybe, because I don't know. I don't think he has that. I don't know if I would say shame, but I don't know if he is. I don't know. We don't need to get into that.
No, without getting into politics or anything like that. But I think it's the parallel between those two characters, I think is perfect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what else with the vaccination special? Yeah, like you said, the kind of was it Stan that wanted to be returned to normal and everything.
Right.
That kind of hit home a little bit. That was a pandemic special.
That was a pandemic special.
Yeah.
The old people getting vaccinated and going nuts.
And the whole idea of a vaccination spot being a club that they can't get into
perfect.
is just brilliant.
And at the end, when Israel comes over and gives everyone the vaccines, and they're like, "See that place over there? You think you're a top shit Walgreens? Nobody wants to go to Walgreens anymore." the old guy revving his motorcycle in the middle of the church parking or in the school parking lot.
Yeah.
And true
great.
South Park fashion, having the poor teacher at the end just keel over from COVID.
Yes. Oh my God. That was really good. And it was like kind of slowly built up just a little bit. Because he just starts coughing and then doesn't stop.
You got to wonder,
crazy.
With the season's not over yet. I don't know how. So their seasons they're contracted 10 episodes per season. I don't know how that's going to work this year since they're clearly doing a new format with these specials.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to keep that format going or if they're going to end the season just doing 30-minute episodes. But they've done in the last few years a thing where they continue on with storylines. So I'm curious to see how that plays out with Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny, because it kind of ends in kind of a way where it seems like they're going in a different path with the four main characters.
Their brohood has been disbanded or whatever, or is in jeopardy. I don't know. That's interesting. And I also wonder if they're contracted for 10 episodes this season. I wonder if the specials constitute a single episode, or
it has to at least constitute 2, if not 3.
Because they're like 44-minute episodes.
So there was a throwaway line at the end of the vaccination special where Randy is selling the rest of his weed, and he says, "Get it while you can. We have very little left of the vaccination special.
Oh, yeah.
We have some left of the pandemic special. Better get it while you can because the season's almost over."
That's right.
And so, that could mean we're halfway through the season. That could mean we're 2/3 of the way through the season. We only have one more episode left.
Right.
I mean, who knows? You know, they've really evolved the way they've been doing South Park over the last half decade.
I still need to see that documentary, 6 Days to Air.
Oh, man, it's fascinating.
Yeah, because I'm very curious, because obviously the title, 6 Days to Air, like they have such a short turnaround time for it. I'm like fascinated to see what that process is like, but not fascinated enough to actually seek out the content.
You
should.
Watch it. It's a really good episode.
Nice.
And you kind of get maybe I'm reading too much into things, but you kind of get the feeling that Matt Stone and Trey Parker might be done with it.
I can't fault them for that. Honestly,
no, they've been doing it for a quarter of a century now.
Yeah, Jesus.
They last season's tag was #cancel South Park, and they kept on they did some things that only South Park can get away with.
Sure.
Like South Park is the uncancelable show. Like they had an episode last year that addressed transgendered athletes competing against women.
Okay.
And it was probably the best episode they've had in the last decade.
Oh, wow.
But it's one of the hammer of the transgender community came down upon South Park.
Oh, yeah.
And you kind of had the feeling they're trying to get canceled. I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but
sure.
You almost get last season 2, they did this thing where the first half of the season was based on Integrity Farms and Randy trying to sell his weed.
Sure.
And towards the end of that arc, they're just kind of like, "This is so goddamn silly. Where do we go from here?" type of stuff.
Okay.
And they've done that before in some of their episodes, but I don't know. It just seems a little real now, and I wouldn't be mad at them about it, because if they end. Next year will be season 25, I believe, and that's when their contract will be up. And they're like, "We're done." You know what? Can't fault them. You gave us 25 amazing years,
right? It's so funny to me that when The Simpsons hit one of their milestones. Granted, they have a lot more episodes in general, so they just got renewed to where it's going to push them to 750 some episodes.
They do 24 episodes a season or something like that.
But I was just thinking about how interesting it is that The Simpsons were considered once they hit a certain season number, it's they've been on TV for decades at this point. It's just they're an institution, everything. And then you look at South Park, they're in their 24th season. Family Guy's in their 20th or something. Bob's Burgers has hit a
12,
decade.
I want to say 11 or 12.
Yeah.
12.
And it's just weird to me that these. I don't know. Maybe The Simpsons is maybe the prototypical of these. Well, I guess Flintstones, but
I was gonna say,
yeah.
little known fact, Flintstones,
right?
Yeah.
But like primetime animated, somewhat adult-oriented comedy is just an interesting kind of rabbit hole to fall down in terms of just longevity of the material and everything.
You know, South Park came out when I was in 7th grade, and I was a fan. I was a fan from the start, and here I am. I'm going to be 36 years old next week. Next month.
Oh, okay.
I'm still a crazy fan of South Park. Nice. South Park is on the plan for tattoos for me.
Oh, wow. Where?
So the idea for this next tattoo, or one of my next tattoos, is get Mount Rushmore. Okay. But instead of presidents, some of my favorite TV like dads, and so I'll have Stan Marsh, Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin, and I haven't settled yet on what my fourth one is going to be.
Interesting.
Kind of want to do Philip J. Fry, but if not Philip J. Fry, then I'm thinking maybe Rick from Rick and Morty. But I don't know. As much as I like Rick and Morty, I don't think they've been around long enough to constitute tattoos.
Yeah, so. I could definitely get that. Fred Flintstone. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, that's interesting, huh? Wow. I still have no tattoos.
You're allowed to not have tattoos.
I know, but I always think about like, I want to get like a Stephen King tattoo or something. But
then just do it.
Huh?
Just do it. Like that. That's what it comes down to.
It's something that I need to make a decision about. I need to weigh all of the options. I need to make spreadsheets. I need to completely overthink everything.
The thing about getting your first tattoo is it needs to be the least thought of tattoo that you get.
Okay, so damaged on my forehead.
Yeah. Duh.
Yeah.
Only God can judge.
Right. Oh God. So that's our kind of capsule reviews, I guess, of the South Park specials and everything. They're available to stream on HBO Max. And do you want to get into our main event review, I guess? The Last Blockbuster.
Sure, let's jump into it.
Okay. You gave me a look like, wait, but what are we doing?
Well, I thought that's all we were reviewing.
Yeah. So, since it's a documentary, we don't really need to worry about spoilers, I don't think so. So, I'm going to go ahead and play the clip from the trailer. This is The Last Blockbuster, which just hit Netflix today on Netflix.
In a world where video stores have all but disappeared.
I mean, look at the James Bond section. Every James Bond movie. Every Avatar movie, because, there's just the one so far.
I hate late fees, but I understand that you had to do it, otherwise people just keep those videos. I know I did.
So, Fekkes, before we get into this review, it's about the Last Blockbuster that exists in Bend, Oregon, and
not the Red Giraffe?
Not the Red Giraffe. I kind of want to just get your read on what your memory is of the video store experience. Like, do you have warm memories of it, or like how did you go into this documentary like feeling about the bygone era of video rental stores?
I had terrible experiences in rental.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'd go in and my dad would put a gun to my head and said, "You have 5 minutes to pick a movie," and because of that, I can't hear the word Blockbuster without peeing myself.
Wow. Well, I am so sad that I didn't put a towel down on the couch.
Triggered. No, I've had the same nostalgia as anybody. Movie guy have been my entire life, so I loved going to Blockbuster Video and picking out the new movies. And I was that guy that would go over and ask, "Hey, did someone turn this in yet? Because I really want it." Nice. And then if they said no, I'd be like, "Can you check the return box, see if they did and you didn't know about it?" So I had a great time, and it wasn't even just movies. That's where I rented my video games too, and so that's where I got a lot of my gaming through. Nice. Blockbuster was the major one that I used. There was a couple Hollywood Video that.
I forgot about Hollywood Video
and Red Giraffe, but for the most part, Blockbuster was the one that I used. And in fact, the Blockbuster that was in Speedway, when it was going out of business, like I was on the police department, Speedway PD, when that closed down, and so they were selling a bunch of stuff, and that's where I got my Inglourious Bastards poster.
Oh, nice. That when all the Blockbusters were closing down, I remember when the last Blockbuster in the area in Avon, I think, was going out of business. Like I went there and I just bought a bunch of Blu-rays and stuff and everything. And it's like when they went out of business, like they were selling like the fixtures, they were selling everything. But yeah, I worked at Blockbuster in high school.
Did you really?
I did.
I didn't know that. My
senior year, I worked at Blockbuster for about 8 months, and I quit because I graduated and was going to go to college in Evansville. I was a teenager. It's like I was a teenager with a very low work ethic. So
you were a teenager.
I was a teenager, yes. So it was just kind of. It was a job. I loved the experience of getting to get pre-streets. So like we were able to rent, take out rentals of DVDs and Blu-rays that were not set to release yet. Like they would get a shipment in like a week or two early, and then a week or two before they were supposed to go out on the shelves. So we would be able to rent those. And I remember specifically that. So 24, the TV show, I was a huge fan of it at the time. The 6th season was about to premiere, but Fox did a thing where they were going to premiere the 6th season 4 episodes. They were going to premiere 2 episodes on Sunday, 2 episodes on Monday, and then the next week they were going to go episode 5 and then episode 6 and all that. So what they did was they actually also released the first 4 episodes on DVD and Blu-ray, to coincide with the airing and everything, to I guess drum up people to watch it and everything. So I got to see those episodes a week early.
Oh, nice!
Because I worked at Blockbuster. Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Could have put the spoilers online.
I could have. Yeah, I actually did. So on the website tvshowsondvd.com, there is if you go way, way, way back in the day to when they announced the season 2 DVD set of 24, you'll see like there should still be an article that says like one of our readers, Matt Hurt, submitted this, and it was because I had bought like season 1 on DVD or something like that. I bought some TV show on DVD, and in the pamphlet or in they had like a little loose advertisement for the other Fox shows and everything, and they had like the cover art for season 2, and I think it was just the cover art, and I was like, oh, this hasn't been announced yet, so I took a picture and I sent it into tvshowsondvd.com.
What a terrible name for a website.
Why TVshowsondvd.com.
Yeah. Why not tvondvd.com?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
That's like, how can we make this? You might as well just named it television shows.
I got really nervous that you were going to say, you might as well have named it The Obsessive Viewer.
No, that would have been good too.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, that's an awful name.
Hey.
No, The Obsessive Viewer is a great name.
Right. Thank you.
Website's a terrible name.
Yeah, I agree. It's a mouthful. But then again, this is also in the early days of physical, like home media on DVD and everything. So I get it. But other anecdotes about working at Blockbuster, like I said, I kind of hated it because I was an antisocial, nervous wreck, anxiety-prone teenager.
Customer service is perfect for you, though.
Yeah. One of the most dreaded experiences of working at Blockbuster is that sometimes they would have like a customer service thing where someone working would have, like, when the registers were slow but the store was busy, they would have to wear like this Blockbuster apron and walk around the store asking people if they need help finding anything, and like I had to do that.
Like, no, I know my alphabet, thank you.
Right. And I was mortified because I was just a teenager who was super embarrassed easily and nervous about everything and second guessing everything. And like, I think I either walked past someone or I finally approached them and did my whole spiel and everything. And he happened to be like the district manager of the whole store and everything.
Hidden shopper.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And also we had a hidden shopper at one point who Like that was a huge deal for like our manager and everything. It's like, oh, we secret shoppers are going to be here, so we got to be on our game and everything.
Such a weird concept.
It really is. And then this one lady, like we knew that a secret shopper was going to come in and be there. So like every customer, I'm like, oh shit, okay, this could be the one and everything. And then this one lady comes up to the register with a clipboard with a checklist and everything. Jesus. And I'm like, you're not even trying.
You're new to this, aren't you?
Yeah. Can I be a secret shopper for you and talk to your boss? Because, but yeah, anyway.
Well, it could have been worse, you know. You could have had to check out people with the adult sections.
Well, that's the thing. Blockbuster did not have an adult section.
I know.
Yes. I see what you're saying there. Yeah, I did have an experience, and we'll get into the actual content of the documentary, I swear. But this one experience is like kind of carved into my mind. I was working like a weekend day, so it was kind of slow. And these two like fairly older women, like senior citizens, came in, and they're kind of giggly and everything, and then they go up to anxiety-prone, nervous wreck, teenage Matt, and they're like, "Hey, do you guys have like an adult section?" And I'm like, I don't know. And then, but I was like, no. And then they were like, well, because it's our friend's birthday and we're going to have a big party and stuff. And we want something that's like really raunchy, like something really, really dirty. And I'm like,
I can come and strip for you.
Right. Like American Pie is over there. That's about it. So that was, I don't know, that kind of, set me back socially for a while in terms of social awkwardness and everything.
So Chip, his wife, she used to work at a Family Video.
Oh, okay.
Back in when she was in college still. Mm-hmm. And Family Video, ironic to the name, does have an adult section. Mm-hmm. And so every weekend, I won't mention her name because I don't want, but poor Chip's wife had to endure the entire Burmese community coming in and renting porn.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's random.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Wow.
Maybe they didn't have it in Myanmar, and they came over here and like,
maybe.
Look what they're letting me watch.
I was like sitting there thinking, like, is that some kind of stereotype or something? Did you just do a racism?
No,
but no, just what had happened.
How dare you? My Burmese neighbors are amazing. They all wave to me. They're super friendly. I love those guys.
Oh, okay. I see your saving face and everything. Did you hear about the guy who said on a PA at a high school basketball game he was an announcer?
I didn't. I saw there was I didn't see what he said, but it sounds like what he said was awful,
horrifying. So he used the N-word.
For fuck's sake!
Oh yeah. And it was all about people kneeling during the national anthem and everything, which I found kind of funny that he is talking and like hurling racial epithets during the national anthem. So I don't know how kneeling during it is more disrespectful.
No, it's super respectful to throw out racial slurs during the national anthem.
But his statement after the fact,
I'm sure it was golden.
Oh my! So you don't know what his rationale was or whatever?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm reading the statement and it's like I should have it on my phone here. This shouldn't take very long to look up or anything, but I started reading it, and I swear to God, the second I got to a certain point, I had to stop reading, and I was howling with laughter. Like it was that ridiculous and
was he on Ambien like Roseanne?
No, it's probably worse than that. It is, here we go. So Matt Rowan, on Thursday, March 11th, 2021, most regrettably made some statements that cannot be taken back. During the Norman High School girls basketball game against Midwest City, I made inappropriate and racist comments believing that the microphone was off. However, let me state immediately that is no excuse for such comments should have never been uttered, whatever. I'm a family man, I'm married, have 2 children. I continue to be a member of a Baptist church.
Of course.
I have not only embarrassed and disappointed myself, I embarrassed and disappointed my family and friends. I will state that I suffer from type 1 diabetes.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And during the game, my sugar was spiking. While not excusing my remarks, "It is not unusual that when my sugar spikes,
I become a racist asshole."
yeah, that I become disoriented and often say things that are not appropriate as well as hurtful." He goes on, and I'm just like, motherfucker. Like,
what a fucking maroon.
yes, here's the thing. If you're going to be caught saying something horrific and...
Take the L, man.
Yes.
Take
Take personal responsibility. Do not fucking, blame it on fucking diabetes.
I've got Malcolm, I got diabetes.
My friend's cat has diabetes, and she said, he just recently was, the cat was just recently, diagnosed, and she said that his name's Loki, and she says, she said that throughout the day, she will just, sit there and, stare at him and be like, "I'm Loki, I've got diabetes."
That's awesome.
It's hilarious.
You know what? That makes what the Papa John's owner.
Oh yeah,
it makes what he says seem reasonable. Did you hear what he recently came out and said?
I didn't hear what he said recently.
So
I know,
you know he was kicked off the boards of executives for dropping the N-bomb.
Right, and then he claim that he was coerced into it or something.
I don't know whatever reason it was. I'm sure it was just as silly, but
yeah.
He made not a statement. He was doing an interview. I think it was last week.
Okay,
where he said that he's taken the time that he's had off to make some habits, and the last 18 months have changed his speaking habits to take that word out of his nomenclature, and it's been a difficult period.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, it's taken you 18 months to not say the N-word. And it's been difficult for you?
What?
That begs the question, how often was he dropping the N-bomb?
Right.
Was he just coming into the pizza parlor and just like, "Hey, what's up, and what's up?"
Right.
What are you doing?
My God. I was
like, bro.
What the hell?
Read the room.
Yeah.
If for instance, it is that common in your everyday vocabulary, at least know enough of society that it's probably not a good idea to tell people that.
Right.
Maybe
exactly.
just keep that in the down low.
Yeah. It's pretty funny though, and I swear we'll get to our review, but it's funny that if you go onto Papa John's website or order pizza and everything, they used to have the Papa's Favorite or something, and now it's just called the 3 cheese sausage pepper, it's just the ingredients and everything.
Well, Shaq's a big name in it now. You can call it Shaq's
Yeah, that's
favorite.
true. Yeah. Okay, so the Last Blockbuster. In addition to working at Blockbuster, I also worked at a movie theater where one of my classmates came in and demanded that I give him free drinks or something. I'm not going to go into that tangent. But anyway, The Last Blockbuster. Fekkes, how did you feel about this documentary and kind of in general terms, and then we can kind of dive in and go beat for beat or go into more detail?
You know, I'm probably going to be at odds with you in this. Didn't care for it.
It's okay. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So I think I listed it on my top 10, I think.
Oh, wow.
Of 2020. Yeah. Because I was very excited about this documentary. The narrator of it, Lauren Lapkus, is one of the 3 components of one of my favorite podcasts, Threedom. And she's a really good comedic actress and improviser and everything. She's on Comedy Bang Bang a lot. But when I first saw the documentary, I was very charmed by it. I was, obviously I was very charmed by it because I believe I put it on my top 10 list, but also top 10 of 2020 is kind of a, it was number 7.
Kind of a Sahara.
Exactly. And I also put the movie Sahara on there. But when I revisited it today, I think that charm, that nostalgia, and the kind of quaint charm of the video store nostalgia kind of wore off a little bit. And I wouldn't say that I disliked the documentary. I would say that it was okay. And
this comes from me, and I'm not as big into documentaries as Tiny is, but
sure.
I thoroughly enjoy documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I finished that documentary and I thought to myself, that could have been a 15-minute YouTube video, and I would have gotten just as much out of it.
Here's kind of where I started to get a little bit turned away from it at the second viewing, is that in that first 15 or 20 minutes, they kind of breeze over the rise of Blockbuster.
Yeah, it was more of a documentary just about this last standing Blockbuster,
which is fine. Yeah, but they kind of, the way that they just breeze over, like, oh, you know, there was a time when home video was just on the scene. They were selling home videos for $100, and then some plucky upstart entrepreneur did this and started a video rental thing, and then the studios sued him, and then they went to the Supreme Court. And I'm like, I want to see that documentary.
Right, that part of the documentary was the most interesting part for me, because I knew about the pricing of VHS tapes.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Family Guy does a pretty good joke about it in one of their episodes where they're back in the 80s and Peter Griffin's like, I just got this. I went into debt buying this copy of Ghostbusters.
That's right.
And so, no, that part was fascinating. I would like to divulge a little bit more about how...
expand that a bit.
Expand on the rise of Blockbuster. But it turned into a... just about this one standing blockbuster. And, the celebrity cameos were fun. Ron Funches was hilarious.
Yeah.
Especially when he talks about stealing GameCube game.
Right.
I was like, that's pretty smart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right, officer.
You're right.
Sergeant, I should say.
Doug Benson didn't seem to care. He really just sent they even focus on part of his interview. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Like it was really weird. It just seemed like Doug Benson was just there because, sure. And even him wondering was like, why am I doing this?
Right. And that also kind of, that type of approach to the kind of interviewing aspect of it, it kind of seemed like it was very lax. It was very like...
I felt it was disingenuous because you pretty much show that these aren't the stories that these celebrities have. You're feeding them the story and tell them to put it into their own words.
Yeah.
And you take a peek behind the curtain with that.
Yeah.
And it's just, I was like, well, then why should I
What's
believe that?
the point of showing that? Like having Doug Benson say, like, how do you think that this went? And then have him say it, and then do, like, to their credit, that kind of stop motion animation thing was kind of funny.
Yeah, that's all right.
But also, it's like we see the magic trick. We see like the deck of cards in the hand. Like we see them prompt him to do that. It's like, what's the point of leaving that in? Also, I'm not a fan of like Trauma Entertainment or anything, but Lloyd Kaufman's segment, that was so off-putting to me.
See, I thought it was hilarious.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, only because he's such a dick. It was fun. Like, I would watch 30 minutes of him because he's such an asshole.
Yeah,
like,
that's why I wouldn't watch 30 minutes of him.
I found that entertaining. Like, this guy's a fucking jackass, but it's hilarious to me. It didn't fit the narrative.
I think that's my problem.
Like, it
also because he's a dick,
right? But it didn't really fit the flow of. I don't even know why he was part of it, except for apparently he loves the Toxic Avengers and had a bad time dealing with Blockbuster Corporate.
So the thing that I think one of the reasons why I thought of it so highly that first viewing, and the reason why it made my top 10 list, is because I think I kind of keyed into the idea of it being, I kind of the in broad strokes, I really like this story of this behemoth almost monopoly thing of home video rentals dying, and then because Blockbuster was ubiquitous. It was everywhere. That was a massive corporation, and it failing and everything because of Netflix and because of other reasons and everything is fine. And that's an interesting story. But what I liked about the focus of the Last Blockbuster is how it turns that mega monopoly story into like a family operation in the Last Blockbuster. I just kind of like how like the beginning of Blockbuster is this massive corporation, and then now it's just dwindled down to this one centralized story of this one like family-owned business. And I just
like that, to me that's a 15-minute YouTube video,
and I agree, and
I still walk away wondering how it stays in operation, because it can't be that
expensive or anything, or like
it just can't be that profitable.
I see what you're saying.
Like she's going to every Tuesday. Every movie lover knows that Tuesdays when DVDs drops, and she's going around making the rounds to purchase DVDs. So she's theoretically spending a few $100s every week.
She does say that she does that to pick up titles that the vendors don't have.
But you got to think that she's still buying it from the vendors,
right? Yeah.
So she's still purchasing these movies.
Yeah, and it's interesting because she I just lost my train of thought. I don't know. The aspect of the family-owned business and everything is interesting and everything, but also that's where it was. Toward the end, we have this kind of this manufactured kind of like drama, like, oh, will Dish Network renew our contract?
That annoyed the shit out of me. That and I was going to bring up, and I was going to use the term manufactured drama. That's exactly what that was.
Oh yeah,
we bring in the ominous music. I don't even believe that she legitimately took a call from Dish Network.
I was wondering that too. I was really wondering that too,
because she just happens to be being filmed at that time, and she gets this really serious look on her face, like, oh, and also she ends the conversation with a look of that was bad news. And and then they break, and they go off and do a little other part of the story, and then they come back to him like, oh, that was, who was that on the phone? Oh, that was Dish Network. We were able to renew. I'm like,
yeah. And also, like, what they say in the documentary, like almost every talking head has the moment where they're like, well, I mean, if they can't be Blockbuster, just change the sign. Like, just still keep it open and everything. I'm like, yeah, like the stakes aren't really that high except for the brand, which again is what I keyed in on, is just the brand name of Blockbuster turning into this quaint, like, family-owned operation is a nice story. But to your point, yeah, 15-minute YouTube video.
You know, some guy at Dish Network every year is like, God damn it, we doing that? We still doing that? And you know, at that time that probably got shuffled. It was like, just I'll deal with it next week. Just don't bother me with that right now, okay? And he, you know, his was like, hey, they're calling again. Fine, fine. I'll renew this nonsense. Here you go.
Yeah. And I will say I did get wrapped up in a lot of the nostalgia of it, like just seeing like shots of the store in the aisles and stuff. That took me back to when I worked at Blockbuster and when I would spend a lot of time in Blockbuster just browsing the aisles and everything. But then on the other hand, I also do the same thing at Target, and I do the same thing at Walmart.
It's not changed for me. Like, I go and I guess you can call me antiquated, but I don't do the digital download stuff. So I enjoy going to go purchase my movies. Right. And so I still get that experience.
Yeah. I understand that.
It was a me, or what? Did it seem like they were getting really awkward making the celebrities like hold the box, and they're like, yeah, this is a movie box.
That
it
felt
feels
pretty
just like
it felt
like they're like, look at the title.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah,
like they didn't prep them with what it was.
Right.
It was just like that was kind of weird. I liked Kevin Smith's input.
Kevin Smith, I'll listen to him all day talk about, you know, various, you know, monkey feces. He's fascinating to me. I think he's a great guy, and he speaks well just about everything he speaks on. Yeah. So yeah, of course I'm going to like his segments. But even he was just kind of like, why is this thing still open?
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I kind of wanted more of him. I kind of felt like, and maybe this is maybe unfair or maybe harsh or maybe mean or anything, but I'm a huge fan of Scream, but Jamie Kennedy just looked kind of like out of it.
He couldn't have cared less.
Yeah.
He was just kind of like, yeah, I was a character in Scream, and I worked at a Blockbuster. Right. That's about it. Yeah. I'm sitting here in my backyard. I got nothing against Jamie Kennedy.
No, me neither.
He looked like he couldn't have cared less.
Right.
So, and at that point, I couldn't have cared less.
Yeah, and that's such a shame, because I was really into it that first viewing, and this one, it was just felt, I don't know what it was exactly. It just felt just really kind of just okay. Like, it just felt.
I think the highlight of one of the highlights was seeing that Jamie Kennedy was in that commercial with Jim Gaffigan. Right. I was like, Jim Gaffigan and Jamie Kennedy projects together, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. That was super random. There was something else I was going to say about the experience of, way back to your point about getting video games from Blockbuster. I remember that is where I got my first and probably only, my first ever copy of Metal Gear Solid. Oh. Yes. So that is imprint. Like, it was the grand opening of that Blockbuster. I bought that like the day that we went there and everything. And yeah, so
solid game.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Metal Gear Solid game.
Damn it. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I have fond memories of that. And then that Blockbuster turned into an Anytime Fitness, and then now it is vacant.
Now it's nothing.
Yep.
But you know, video stores aren't gone. There's still Family Videos around Indianapolis.
No, Family Video.
Are you
recently?
Sure?
Within the past month, they closed every store.
Oh, well,
yeah.
I guess my I'm double checking you.
Yeah.
But
our friends over at Horror Movie Yearbook did a very nice episode about the kind of the end of the video store like idea and everything. I'm bringing it up now. Horror Movie Yearbook. They had. I can't find the episode because it is archived because I listened to it. Eulogy for the video store, because a lot of the guys over at Midwest Film, the Midwest Film Nerds group, they met and worked at Family Video, and so they had a very nice thing on Horror Movie Yearbook. Yep.
Well, according to the website, they are currently selling movie memorabilia as well. So, and that's another thing. Like I watched that John Oliver segment when it was on the show, and it was a hilarious segment when it aired. So they're going to take 15 minutes of their own movie to recap
that,
the John Oliver segment. I was like, I saw that segment.
Yeah, so. That was news to me because I didn't see that segment or anything, but I totally get that. Yeah. I get that. Yeah, I hate to seem like I'm dogging on the documentary because it's a charming documentary for the nostalgia and everything. I will say that this pissed me off quite a bit because I was looking on like their Rotten Tomatoes or something like that, and like one of the reviews that popped up as like the headline or whatever is like the little like snippets of reviews is that a negative review of the documentary that just says a bunch of men mansplaining
for fuck's
video
sake.
stores.
Jesus
I'm like,
Christ.
what the like? Okay,
it's literally ran by a female general manager.
Yes, and there are women that are interviewed in it, and also that's not mansplaining. That's sharing their nostalgia and their experience.
Are you now mansplaining? Why it's not mansplaining?
I am.
I noticed that you're manspreading.
I am manspreading. I am.
Where's pizza? Where's
she
pizza? Or is she's hiding from the patriarchy?
She is in the kitchen where she belongs. I almost said I feel bad. She's a cat. It's like anyway. So yeah.
I was excited to watch it, and I just halfway through it, I was just kind of like,
yeah. And the kind of the viral like press that had been popping up when it was announced that it was going to be on Netflix, like this is nitpicking and this is mansplaining probably, but the idea that like the meme of like imagine killing someone and then making a documentary about it, like
I saw that.
That's funny and everything, but also just to clarify,
it was not a Netflix documentary.
Yeah, Netflix didn't make it. They're distributing it. But I will say I was a Kickstarter supporter for this documentary. Yeah. And I don't regret that at all. I got a nice Blu-ray DVD combo, and they also gave me I think I have it on the fridge, like an actual Blockbuster membership card.
That's fun.
That's pretty fun. Nice little perk.
I have no problem with that. You know, that's cool.
Oh yeah, they worked hard to make a documentary, and even if revisiting it gave me diminishing returns in terms of like enjoyment of it, I'm still glad that I got it. And
I'm not gonna be like, fuck those guys, hope they never make a movie again.
Right, exactly.
Like I said, there was things about the movie I enjoyed. Like some of the celebrities, some of them did seem to care. Like Kevin Smith always cares. Ron Funches was fun.
Yeah.
Ron Funches was always fun. Paul Scheer.
Yeah. He had good anecdotes about working at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
That was good.
But I just thought it was almost funny to me how much it looked like Doug Benson couldn't have cared about.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, hey, look, super high me.
It wasn't even like, it was on one hand, it was like he didn't even really care about it, but also it was like he wasn't even really trying to do bits or anything. Like he was doing just like very bland comedy. Like, and he's a pretty funny guy. I like
Doug Benson. Yeah.
And it's funny that he's the one celebrity person that they flew out to Bend to go to the actual store.
And he was like, can I rent this movie? I guess. Oh, come on.
Yeah. So I'm going to assume that you're not going to make the pilgrimage to Bend, Oregon to visit the Last Blockbuster.
No, and I can't even hate on like the people that flew from Spain to do it. And hey, look, if that's your thing, I would never. I'm never that kind of guy that tells people not to like things because that's not what I would like. So,
right.
If that's your thing, cool. But no, I will not go out to Bend, Oregon to visit the last standing Blockbuster.
Yes. Where do you see the future of video stores?
Oh, I don't.
Okay.
It was funny because I just what did I go to buy? I went to go buy a video game from Best Buy, and whenever I go into Best Buy, which has become fewer and fewer opportunities.
Right,
anymore.
right.
I always go by the movie section just to peruse.
Oh, same here.
Man, it is just it's like someone came in and just knocked DVDs off the shelf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's sparse.
Jeez.
And
like, do you mean just DVDs, and is it just like Blu-rays now, or just across the board like physical media?
well, funny you should say that. Yeah, physical media, because
Okay.
I ended up not even buying the video game from Best Buy because I couldn't figure out how to fucking do it.
Oh, really?
You can't just pick up a video game off the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
They have all the boxes out there, but it says go see the front desk to get it. And I was looking for a Nintendo Switch game, and none of the Nintendo Switch boxes had any graphics on it. You had to like sift through cards. I was like, I'm not. So I went to GameStop and got it at GameStop.
Nice.
And you know what I could do at GameStop? Go over there and pick it up off the shelf.
Yeah. Buy shares and make $1 million or something.
Chip won some money off of that.
Did he really?
He did.
I don't know. If I were better with my money and more confident in my, ability to play the stock market and everything.
I don't know. We have a rookie on now, and he kind of gets into it, and he tried to explain how he does it, and it sounds simple enough, but I would have to look or do so much research that I'm just not interested in doing.
Yeah, same here. I've thought maybe I'll just like download Robinhood and buy like AMC stock, because I've got to believe that they will bounce back after everyone's vaccinated.
I think it's going to be very dependent on summer. I think it's gonna kick off with Godzilla versus Kong, and I think a good indicator is going to be Black Widow.
Yeah, which did they move that officially to May, or have they even put it on the
May 7th? I want to say,
okay.
if not May 7th, like first week of May.
And May the 7th be with you. Real quick. I guess that's our review of the last Blockbuster. Did you have any parting thoughts on it?
No, forgettable.
Yeah.
So
that's too bad.
I brought the box with me for you, leaving the DVD.
Just the box.
Just the box. So I will bring it all tomorrow.
Nice. Right on. Yeah, it's no rush or anything. It's on Netflix, so
No,
good.
Enough. Well, I'm going to throw it away then.
Oh, well, no, because I did it. You also have my Green Mile. Just saying.
Also, I know. I picked up that box as well. It has the DVD in it. I'm just going to bring them both tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, it's no rush or anything.
Yeah.
So that's our review of The Last Blockbuster, and you can find that on Netflix and everything, and Pizza has come out to visit us. That's nice.
Get back in the kitchen.
Yeah. She's just a little baby. Anyway, kind of to wind down and everything, I don't know if we'll do like a regular potpourri section, but I did want to ask how you felt about The Mandalorian Season 2.
Garbage.
Really?
No.
I was gonna say,
I'm not a tear in the eye kind of guy at movies. Not that that's a bad thing, because my brother, God love him, he is. But if ever there were a moment that I would get teary eyed, it was seeing Luke come back.
Oh,
that was astounding.
I'm sure I said this on the podcast or anything. Like I was fine with it, just because of how I am with Star Wars and everything. Not because of how I am with Star Wars, but like I didn't have that like visceral reaction or anything. Yeah. But I did feel like such a fucking idiot, because I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, it's going to be like a big, like some kind of big cameo and everything. And I'm like, who could it be? And I'm like, and then like, as soon as it's revealed, I'm like, it's a dude with a green lightsaber flying in on an X-Wing.
Jar Jar!
In a story set after Return of the Jedi and everything. Like,
who do you think?
There's literally only one person that it can be in that universe.
I will say this. I thought it was spectacular how well Disney kept that under wraps.
Yeah.
And Mark Hamill actually did a Instagram post about how, he was...
I think I saw that.
Yeah.
I love Mark Hamill.
Oh, Mark Hamill's... He's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not getting political on this, but I will say I am so anti people getting fired from jobs because of political opinions. Yeah. And so I'm upset that I'm not going to see Cara Dune. And I think we even had we had a conversation on Facebook that
I purposely avoided like commenting on like the actual content and everything because like deep down in my head like I'm like okay, I mean she deserved it and everything.
I don't think she. I'm not saying what she her opinion was correct or my opinion, but I'm tired of people losing their jobs for having a political opinion.
Well, I think the difference is that like you can have a political opinion, but when you are in a job like that where like your social media presence and everything is and I'm sure it's probably built into the contract with Disney, is an extension of the brand that you're representing.
You know what? I will throw back at you the conversation that we had about the Guardians of the Galaxy director.
Interesting.
And Disney kicked him off, and you defended him.
I did because those comments were made well before he was ever hired by Disney.
But those were about pedophilia.
They were clearly jokes. Well, okay. I'll okay. Yes. I'll meet you halfway there. I totally that is a good point.
Yeah. And again, I'm not defending her political opinion. I don't, but I liked her character. I like her as a person because I think, I'm a fight fan. I think she did amazing things for women fighting. She was the first primetime fight to be televised on network television. Huh. She was an amazing champion when she was. I want to say it was Strikeforce. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. But, political opinions aside, I think she's a good human being. And, you had Bill Burr sticking up for her, too.
He's canceled now too. Which, God damn it. Let's not hash that out. Because literally, because I saw your post about it. And then I looked up. I was like, I wonder what happened. And, the amount of work that I went into to actually see the clip that would cause some whatever outrage and stuff was so much more effort than needs to be done because it's a nothing thing.
It is. And here's my take on it. Mm-hmm. Don't get mad when a comedian is a comedian at the awards that you hired him to be a comedian at.
Right.
And if you've watched anything of Bill Burr, and I think Bill Burr is hilarious. I think he's one of the best stand-up comics out there.
I could never really get into him, but I really liked his performance in The Mandalorian and Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that's right. He was in Breaking Bad. But you got Bill Burr.
Right.
When you hire Bill Burr, don't get mad when Bill Burr's Bill Burr.
Yeah. And the people who got mad seemed to just be that kind of stereotypical, I'm mad because I should be mad.
Oh, it's just, it's that.
Performative. It's performative.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But they've come after Bill Burr before, and Bill Burr, he's bulletproof.
Yeah. But going back to Cara Dune, what's her name? Gina
Carano.
Carano, yeah. We had a disagreement on Facebook about it because I was like, well, I mean, maybe if they recast, they'll have someone who can actually act.
Yeah. I'm not saying that Gina Carano is a stellar actress, but she's done some good stuff in my opinion. But she was serviceable as Angel in Deadpool.
Yeah. My kind of whole thing is like your position, which I respect this. I respect this angle on it, where you said that you don't need her to be like Oscar caliber or anything like that because it's Star Wars. But my counter to that is if they were leaving the groundwork or laying the groundwork to have her have that tragic past with Alderaan and everything, and have a meaty dramatic thing. I would my position is bare minimum she needs to have some kind of ability to emote, and I thought she didn't have really any of that in any of the episodes that I saw with her.
And that's a fair point. But Gina Carano's, she's gotten roles because of her career as a fighter, and so they brought her in as somebody that can be an imposing figure on screen and believably imposing. She's not 105-pound actress pretending to be an assassin. She's that if I got into a fight with Gina Carano, she'd probably whoop shit out of me. Legit. So she was an imposing and believable trooper. So and that's what I take away from her character for that. And I was looking forward to her continuing that arc with the with her live action lead. So I don't know.
That makes one of us.
I don't know. I'm just politics aside, I'm tired of people getting canceled for having an opinion.
Yeah,
or losing jobs. It's not like she came out and said, "You know what I want to do? Chuck babies into the Grand Canyon."
Right.
You don't have to agree with their politics. Just let people have an opinion.
I agree with that, but I don't know. I still think it's just a product of the Disney machine and everything. I don't know.
The problem is that it doesn't stop at the Disney machine,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to follow actors and actresses throughout the rest of their career.
Here's the thing, and we can kind of wrap up because this is going on to a tangent that I don't know.
God damn it, we're going to solve this thing.
Right. Tim Allen. Did you see that stuff that happened with him a couple weeks ago?
No.
So he was on, I think he was on WTF with Mark Maron, and he was talking about how I guess he was a Trump supporter, and he said something like,
I feel like it's been pretty well, like his,
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's kind of his,
Republican.
yeah. Like, I mean, I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
I was going to say, he's Jesus. He's like the working
collar,
class.
Yeah. Who the Republicans all hate. But so he said on Mark Maron after Biden was elected and everything, he said something to the effect of I don't know if he said like, oh, I didn't really support him that much, but I thought it was cool, or I thought it was good that he pissed everyone off, or something like that.
I did see that quote.
And so like then the internet went kind of crazy with that, and
that's weird. The internet never does that.
Yeah, and like, okay, first of all, I'm okay to an extent with people like reacting to a comment about a political like idea, as long as it's measured, like it's a measured thing. But what people were doing with this crossed the line. Like people that I follow and respect and have seen them post like stuff that I agree with and everything, went into like the trenches of Tim Allen's like past. And they were like sharing his mugshot from when he was arrested for drug trafficking in the 70s, and saying like, oh, he was a drug trafficker, and he sold out like a group of people so he could have a reduced sentence and stuff. And I'm like, motherfucker, he served his time, like he served his debt to society, and he has been sober for like 20 some years and stuff, and rehashing that, like, and bringing that up.
Tim Allen, again, political opinions aside, seems to have been a pretty great guy throughout his career in television.
Yeah. Like he had like a DUI in like 2003 or something like that, but who cares at some point. And like, he has been sober ever since. And like, I guess part of that interview on WTF was about his sobriety and everything, and talking about how he's lived a sober and clean life and everything and all that. So like, just the fact of people like bringing that up to just like shit on him, or to discredit his shitty opinion about the former president.
There's no polite discourse.
No.
And I've gone, I post things on Facebook quite often, and I post things that people disagree with. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I put on there is, if we're going to have the discussion, don't be a dick.
Right.
And I usually make that comment when people start to be dicks about it. It's like, we can disagree. Mm-hmm. But when you start saying shit to some of my friends on my Facebook posts, and you're being shitty about it, like, you can disagree without being an asshole.
Right.
It turns out that's possible.
Yeah.
And then we can walk away, still be friends.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the internet has ruined polite discourse.
Yeah, I don't know. That's another conversation for another podcast, I think.
Yeah.
The obsessive discourse.
Aptly named.
Yes. Yes. We'll dig up all of everyone's past, and then we'll use that against them as whenever they make a comment we don't agree with.
Absolutely. I once stole a Reese cup in 7th grade.
Did you really? I once stole a card. No, a little firework thing. When I was in 7th grade.
Yep, it was from the when you got out of school for the day and there was like a candy stand set up and it went to like charity stuff.
Yeah, you stole from charity.
I stole from charity.
Wow,
you can cancel me.
I hope it was worth it, because now you're going to prison.
I love Reese cups.
Yeah,
it was it's kind of worth it.
Reese cups are good.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, this episode was brought to you by Reese cups and misdemeanor.
Misdemeanor theft. It's not felonious theft.
Right,
Calm
right.
down, everybody.
Misdemeanor theft. And all right. Well, I think that'll about do it. Do you have anything else you want to talk about or anything?
No, I'd say we're good.
All
Zack Snyder Cut come out Wednesday.
Yes.
Or Thursday, sorry.
Thursday. Yep, so look forward to that. We'll have you back next week, maybe.
Maybe, depending on what's going on. So
yes, and we'll be discussing that. And in the meantime, thank you guys so much for listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Like I said, I have been recording commentary tracks like crazy for Patreon, so go to patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. $5 or $10 a month gets you access to those commentary tracks. I did Throne of Blood, It Chapter 2. I'm going to be doing Ex Machina soon. I also have Superbad and Shaun of the Dead there, so check that out. And thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. And now, here's a short clip from our Patreon exclusive RSS feed. To hear the full clip and more exclusive Patreon content, go to patreon.com/obsessiveviewer and become a patron at the minimum rate of $1 per month. Thank you and enjoy.
I considered Taxi for a minute.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I actually just started watching Taxi for the first time this past year, and it's a very good show.
The
cast is great, and the jokes are fantastic, and I feel like it's still it holds up.
So are you season 1 then? Just season 1?
I think I made it to season 2 or 3.
Have you seen the one where, and his name escapes me, but Kaneki from Greece?
Yeah.
It is driving the taxi, and the guy in the back seat, he takes out a gun, and the guy's like, "Give me your money." And the guy, Kaneki, doesn't know what to do. He's like, "You give me your money." It's so good.
Wow.
Oh, that show's
The Obsessive Viewer podcast is edited and produced by Matt Hurt and presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. For a full archive of our episodes, go to ObsessiveViewer.com/OV archive. You can also like our Facebook page and join the OV Facebook group at Facebook.com/TheObsessiveViewer. And follow us on Twitter at ObsessiveViewer and at ObsessiveTiny. And follow our recurring co-hosts at I am Mike White, that's me, at RA Fekkes and at Burger_Lurker. If you enjoy the show, please take a couple minutes to leave us a rating and a quick review on Apple Podcasts. This is the easiest way to support what we do, and all it costs is a little bit of your time. If you'd like to donate to the podcast, you can make a PayPal donation at obsessiveviewer.com/donate, or support us on Patreon for recurring donations and access to commentary tracks and B-roll audio recorded exclusively for patrons at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Every donation goes toward paying the fees to keep the podcast running and is greatly appreciated. For official Obsessive Viewer merch, including shirts, mugs, phone cases, and more, visit our TeePublic store. You can find a link to the store in the show notes of this episode and at obsessiveviewer.com/donate. Or you can simply search for Obsessive Viewer at teepublic.com, teepublic.com. For information about our annual live event showcasing short horror films from local filmmakers, check out shocktoberInIrvington.com. And for an archive of all our events, as well as news about potential future events, head over to obsessiveviewer.com/live. For more podcast content, you can find Anthology, Matt's solo podcast covering The Twilight Zone and other classic and contemporary science fiction anthology TV shows at anthologypod.com and on Twitter at OVAnthologyPod. You can also find Tower Junkies, a podcast where Matt and Tiny share their love of all things Stephen King and his magnum opus, The Dark Tower series, at towerjunkiespod.com and at towerjunkiespod on Twitter. And finally, check out The Secular Perspective, Tiny's side project podcast, which tackles current events and life's big questions from the perspective of secular hosts Chad and Amanda at thesecularperspective.com. The theme music for The Obsessive Viewer comes courtesy of the band Loudlike from their EP Mistakes We Must Make. Additional bumper music is provided courtesy of As Good As It Gets, which can be found at facebook.com/asgoodasitgetsband. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Kitty!